A blade made Serai. The noble knight heard the question, then slowly let her eyes shut closed. She stood there for some time beside the youth, and as he looked upon her and waited, the clouds passed beneath their feet. Golden sunset made the white curtain glitter beneath them. So numerous were the clouds that the ground beneath them must be slick with rain, pooling through polished golden gutters or streaking ivory walls. The knight who was herself Serai let the warmth of the sun radiate into her skin, her cheek, the back of her hands, and took in a deep breath as if it were her first in so dearly long. A smile slowly spread across her lips, and she knelt to match her eyes with the youth's when they opened again. The two locked gazes for a moment. Then the knight cast her eyes down her side and drew a long and beautiful blade, one that, though it had not left its sheath in half an age, gleamed and glittered like a playful child. Something in this display pleased the knight, and she let herself giggle as she wielded the flat of the blade into her naked palm. The youth's eyes danced as well, and when she saw this, some of the joy in the knight's eyes waned. "Listen," she whispered, words hiding amongst the breeze above the clouds. "Who made this?" The boy stood confused. It was a question every Anahiem could answer. Not one even worth being asked. In fact, it was this side of an insult to his intelligence. "It's your blade." The knight's lips split into an almost playful smile. "Then who made it?" This question must be answered, child, if we are to penetrate the meaning of yours." The boy harumphed, then rallied his dignity. "You did." "How?" "You cleaved the metals from the earth. You stoked the bellows, wielded the hammer, stitched the leather with a needle you forged yourself, and thread you spun yourself. You faceted its jet." The Serai nodded once, and the boy stopped speaking. "Hammer and needle are tools. Look upon this sword and see for yourself if I was those objects' master." The youth held his breath and once more cast his gaze upon the sword. It was tapered from ricasso to needle-like tip. 5 gems inside refracted the light so flawlessly that within each one the magic that was natively inside sunlight was lensed into elements. A snowflake, an ember, a spark, all with no spell cast, or perhaps a spell of craftsmanship cast at the blade's making. The guard was simple but noble, straight and even with a diamond cross-section and flared ends. The pommel was a gray that poked out from the black leather and delicate binding of the haft. It was silver and gray and black, understated, with the small but flawless crystals in the fuller of the blade. Not a hammer stroke was visible on its polished surface, not a seam on its hilt. There was no word for it save mastery. The boy turned his eyes back to the Serai, and his eyes alone answered her question. She nodded her understanding, then spoke once more. "So I have. But those are but tools, young one." Here she stood, rising gracefully back into the golden light of Anahiem's setting suns, bathed in fiery gold and casting lengthening shadows. Her grip on the sword, however, stayed steady and unchanged. "This is a tool too, you see." And here the boy began to understand. "What can be made with it?" The knight nodded to him and held upon her face a sad smile. "A new nation, a safer people, a future free of the dark." And then she turned the blade until its edge hovered above her palm. "A new enemy, a war, fields of corpses. The blade sank, biting her flesh a degree at a time. It cut deeper and deeper still until the bright red of arterial blood cast away its darker, thinner twin, pooling in her palm, then flowing wantonly. The color was such that the sunset's colors looked like they belonged together, and the marble floor was dyed as if black in the shadows at their feet. The boy's eyes were wide and unmoving, stuck to the wound worsening in her hand, the same hands that had honed that very sword's edge to such a frictionless paring of its wielder's flesh. The act was cyclical and brutal and beautiful, but her hand would never heal to what it had once been. The mother of mastery was being killed before him, and he couldn't figure out what to do. The knight chuckled, pained but gleeful. "See now? You have no mastery of yourself, young one." She lifted the blade and let it lower to her side, now only holding out her ruined hand. "It is a sword, and only a sword. We can carry any weapon, but only the sword is so simple and depthless. That tool magnifies, and like all tools, it crafts with scalpel precision what is intended to be made." She spread her fingers and let the new blood flow freely between them, flowing so quickly the wound itself was utterly hidden. "Through the sword one wields themselves. Do you understand? Understand why it is masters who must walk with it? To have conquered your body and championed your mind. To be the master of your being in all moments and make with it not a thing to be ashamed of." One finger after another she curled her hand into a fist and tightened it until the blood could no longer flow. "The Serai are masters of our journey, and the sword is a tool that one uses to wield their soul. So rarely is it best when drawn." The boy looked at the ground and lifted a foot. It came unstuck from the slick marble, ruined shoes soaked through with blood, but his teacher's feet held firmly to the ground, blood-stained, but proud all the same. He shifted his weight again and felt small. "Your hand," he started, and could find no other words. "Some lessons are dearly taught," she replied, "so that the next one's wondering is illuminated for cheaper." Her hand lowered, and now her smile was bold and bright. "So learn deeply,